Hey guys, what's up? Card Hacker here, and today I'm here with another Digimon deck profile. Today we'll be doing a deck profile on the Digi-Burst green deck, which is a very strong deck. It's definitely one of the top decks in the meta right now, and with the new start deck as well as the cards from BT4, green just got even better. It looks a lot different from the BT3 build because we're not really running Ceresmon in this build anymore. Instead, we're taking advantage of the green piercing abilities as well as the abilities that they get from attacking your opponent's Digimon. So let's get right into the deck profile. Let's start off with the Digitamons first. We're running 4 Minomon and 1 Agumon, mainly because this card gets its effect when it's attacking the opponent's Digimon. So we're going to be doing a lot of that, and so the extra 1 Elsem power does help, especially if you're trying to beat over a bigger Digimon. That helps, and Agumon just helps you get some extra memory, which is nice sometimes. It might not, your Digimon might not always live because they're not gonna be able to unsuspend itself, but it's a nice option to have. Now let's move on to level 6s. We're running 3 of the HerculesKabuterimon from the start deck. As piercing, as Digiburst 2 to rest your opponent's Digimon. It's really good. We're also running the new Leadamon, so we're not maxing out this at 4 anymore. People did run this at 4 when it was in the BT, when the start deck first came out, but now we have more options, so we're only running 3. So we're going to make more space for some different level 6s that we can run in this deck. But overall, it's a really strong card. It's pretty much a flower cannon that you don't need to pay any memory for, so it's a very good card. Next, we're running 1 Nidhoggmon. So Nidhoggmon is here for a field wipe, potential field wipe. It's a bit expensive. It costs 5 memory to use, and it's Digiburst 4. So you don't always get to get this card off, and that's why we're only running 1. You don't want to start off with too many of this card in your opening hand. So we're only running 1. That way, if you really brick, you can still, do other stuff. So running one of these. But it's a very good card. I might run this at 2 later on if Rookie Rush is more of an issue again. It's not as big of an issue as it was in BT3, but yeah, it's still pretty good. Next, we're running 2 Mega Gargomon. So this card is a very good stun card. If your opponent has a big beefy Digimon on the field and you want to just stop it from. If you want to stall, you can. And it's also a very good attacker. You can get some extra security checks in. It's a nice card to have overall, and it's a nice budget card. This is like a less powerful version of Puppetmon, but it also doesn't give your opponent too much memory to work with, and that's why we're running this over the Puppetmon. Because most of the time, if they have something really dangerous on the field, they're not going to have like 5 really dangerous cards on the field unless you make it that way. And this deck is very good at controlling your opponent's board. So we'll talk a bit about that later when we go more into the analysis for the cards. Next, we are running 2 Bancho Stingmon. This card is mainly here to beat over big Digimon, and since you have a lot of options to rest your opponent's Digimon, your Bancho Stingmon can just beat over them afterwards, so it's really nice. Really nice to have. One of the combos that you can do is Digivolve into Leadamon, use her effect to rest one of your opponent's Digimons, and then Digivolve into Bancho Stingmon to attack. If you rested a level 6, like a big level 6, you can just run over and just get your extra security checks, and your opponent's going to fall behind just from that, so it's a really good card. Next, we are running 2 of the new level 7s, running 2 Chaosmon. This card works perfectly with this deck because we're mainly focusing on attacking your opponent's Digimon. And what does this card do? When you Digivolve, you can unsuspend itself and attack your opponent's Digimon. So it has piercing, so it works perfectly well with this deck. And yeah, not much else to say. It's a very good option. Definitely run this card over the Valder Arm version in the green build. You're probably going to run the Valder Arm version in the yellow build. So next, let's move on to the level 5s. We're running 3 Mega Kabuterimon. This is a new fantastic option for green. It has a very unique effect of just discarding your opponent's security when you battle opponent's Digimon and delete it. Of course, your Digimon has to also stay alive in order for you to use the effect. But with all the buffs that we're getting from our evolution sources, most of the time you will be staying alive. And of course, this is an evolution source skill, so you have to be in the level 6 in order to do it. Level 6 or 7. Next, we are running 3 Digimon. So Digimon is here. It's a level 5 version of HerculesKabuterimon. It also doesn't have piercing, which is not that good, but you can use this card to stop your opponent's early plays. For example, if they're trying to set up for a Digimon chain in their battle area, just pop her skill off and just beat over it, and then you stop their play right there. So it forces your opponent to raise their Digimon in the hatching area, which definitely does limit their options. And yeah, it also gives them less firepower to do it, because whenever they put their stuff out in the battle area, they're always in danger of getting run over by your green Digimon, which is one of the really strong perks of this deck. Next, we are running 3 of the Agumon. So this card is just here to get you some cheap Digi-evolutions. We're running the Mega Kabuterimon and the Digimon, which are all 3 evolution costs, which is very expensive for green decks, but these cards are worth it, and we're running Hidden Potential, so that's okay. But sometimes when you don't have it and you just want to go into your level 6s, then Agumon is the way to go. So we're running 9 level 5s in total, just so we can proc our effects and go into our nice level 6s. For the level 4s, we are running 4 Stingmon, mainly here just to help you get your extra memory, and this will help you extend your plays. So Stingmon is just still really good. Running 4 of the Gargomon. This card's just mainly help you here to buff your opponent, buff your Digimon. So, you know, it's extra power that you're going to get, so it's nice to have. This card's also 5 memory to hardcast. So it's not like your Kabuterimon, you have a little bit of options. You can run the Kabuterimon instead, but I'm running this just because. And it's also help you not have the same name on the field. So we're running 4 of the Kabuterimons, the blocker ones. So this is 1 cost to evolve, and it's not your Woodmons. The Woodmons are a little bit bigger, but your Kabuterimons are cheaper to evolve, and we want to have cheap evolutions. So we're just gonna max out our 1 cost evolution level 4s. So that's it for the level 4s. Let's move on to the level 3s. So we are running 4 of the new Tensomon. On play, you can check the top card of your deck, and if it's a green Digimon, you can add to your hand. We're running a lot of green Digimon in this deck. In fact, the only non-green Digimon cards we're running is the Chaosmon, our Mimis, and our option cards. So most of the time you're going to be hitting Digimon. Sometimes you will get unlucky, but that's fine. It's part of the game. Next, we're running 4 of the new Palmon. So this card's really good because when you attack your opponent's Digimon, you get 2000 power, which is quite a big buff, and it's really helped in this deck. It helps your Chaosmon beat over Omegamons, so it's really nice for that. And it helps your level 4s beat over level 5s if they have it on the field. So yeah, overall it's just a really good card. Alright, so for the last level 3, we are going to be running 3 Latamons. So Latamon is here for you to combo with your Digiburst cards, your Lidomon and your HerculesKabuterimons. So when she gets Digibursted out from the evolution source, you can return it back to her hand, so you can set up for another evolution chain later on, which is really good. We're running this at 3 because you have some other really good level 3s that we want to work with. So that's why we're running 3 of those. And we're running 3 of the level 3 Agumons. Mainly, it's just here for you to help you get some cheap rookies out on the field. Obviously, if you're worried about it getting deleted because this is Agumon and this is Agumon, you can run the Kabuterimon instead, but I like the art for this card more, so mainly it's just preference, I guess. But it is on the off chance that you have this on the field and that on the field, it will get deleted. But, you know, it's fine. If I'm going to our tournament, I might just swap those for Goblimon. But if not, when I'm doing fun play, very rarely will that happen. Next, for the option cards, we're running 3 of the Hidden Potential. This card just helps you cheat out some Digimon out for 0 cost. Just for it's pretty much Digisorption without having Digisorption text. But we're running 3 because I feel like running 4 will really clog your hand if you open up with this early game. And 3 is nice to have. You can have access to it when you need it, and even if you do get clogged with this, at least you're going to get clogged with 3 and not 4. If that's a problem, I guess. But yeah. And last but not least, we're running 2 Mimis. Mainly because this card is you're mainly using it for you to cheat out more level 3s on the field from the raising area. The memory gain effect skill is okay, but this deck doesn't rely on it because you can do a lot of cheap memory plays even without the Mimis. So this deck doesn't get crippled when you don't have her. I'd much rather have better, more consistent lineup of level 3s and level 5s. Just because from playtesting when I was running this at 4 and this at 3, I've had times where I've clogged either level 3s or level 5s. And after cutting this down to 3 and this down to 2, the problem is nearly non-existent. Of course, you'll still be unlucky sometimes and draw into too many of your other cards that you don't need. But that's the nature of card games, so not much else to say about that. But yeah, for the most part, this deck is really consistent, and it has really strong matchups against most of the cards in the meta, which is why this deck is so competitive in the meta. It's a nice deck. It's a really fun deck, and not that expensive. The only potentially expensive card, I guess, is Nidhoggmon and maybe the Lidomon. I guess these are the only expensive cards in the set, and even then, they're not really expensive. The cards in BT4 are very cheap, so pick them up while you can. Maybe after more people play the game, the cards might raise in price. And this card is also pretty expensive for a rare, so I guess this is not that budget friendly. But this is a Sorry Deck card. These are Sorry Deck cards, and this is uncommon. Everything else is quite cheap, so it's a very strong budget deck to play with, and this is one of the reasons why a lot of my friends are starting to play this game too, because you can play this deck competitively for a very small budget. Alright, so next let's talk about some of the options that you can run if you don't like some particular cards in the deck. So personally, I've also playtested with the Flower Cannon as well as the Chiku Chiku Bang Bang as extra cards to help you rest your opponent Digimon. I feel like they do sometimes clog the hand and cause you to brick, which is one of the main reasons why I took these out. These cards here will help you stop your opponent from doing some plays. This card mainly just returns one of your opponent's Digimon back to the opponent's deck if they are in rest, which helps sometimes, but it's not super good now, because usually we want to rest something that is in active state so you stop them from doing their combo. So not so much this now, but if you hard cast this from hand, I still see some people run this, but personally I wouldn't run it myself. Hornbuster you saw me run this in my Sarasmon deck. I think it's not as necessary in this deck because your power gain isn't as much needed in this deck as it is in your Sarasmon deck. You have a lot of cards in this deck that can help you gain your power already, like your Palmon and your Minomon and your other stuff that can help you gain power. So not as much needed, but these are definitely interesting options to have if you are interested in adding more options into your build, just to have a little bit more defense. Flower Cannon, it's good because if they hit into this, it rests all of their Digimon, so it stops their turn pretty much right there. But again, we already if you draw into this, these are definitely not as good as your Digi-Bursting cards already, because these will help you rest your opponent's Digimon for free, while this one costs 2 memory. But of course, defensively, these are much better in your security, but we can't rely on your security for your last-ditch defense. Mainly because when I play, I just expect all the cards in my security to be trash. That way, if I do hit something good, it's always plus side instead of something that I need to rely on. But yeah, these two cards are very similar. Their main effects are pretty much the same. They're the same. It's mainly their security effects that are different. This one just rests all of the Digimon except for blockers, and then this one just rests one, and then you add this card back into your hand. So I see both of these being played in some Japanese builds, but not always. I can see the debate for why you should run them, as well as some debates why you shouldn't run them. I'm more of a camp for not running these just because it just increases your hand to brick in the opening hand. Next is Terimon. Terimon is here to stop your opponent from playing Hammer Sparks and other effects that can help them gain memory, like the new Knight Jack, or what is it? I forgot the purple one, or Lilith Mons and Ragnar Lord Mons. So those decks are not heavily played in my meta, so I'm not running Terimon for that reason. If you're playing in the meta that has a lot of Lilith Mons, a lot of Ragnar Lord Mons, a lot of people playing blue with Hammer Spark, then you could run this just to stop them from gaining memory. It also stops your opponent's Stigmon plays, but usually if you are playing against green, Terimon's probably one of the first things to get run over, so it doesn't really make a bit of a difference there. Last but not least, as you can see, I ran these cards in my deck, but these are cards that you can consider running more of, in my opinion. Mainly because if you want to play super budget and you don't want to run the extra Lilamons, you can just bump these up back to 4/4, and then you can take the Lilamons out and run the extra Mimi. But Lilamon, it's definitely not that expensive, so you can definitely pick some up. But these cards by themselves are pretty good, but she just gives you that little bit of extra early control over your opponent. Like if they know you're playing Lilamon, they'll be like, I don't want to raise something in the battle area because it's probably going to get run over with by Lilamon or something else during their turn. So they have to really consider what they can do. And yeah, it's just a really threatening card to have on the board. Or if they think you have it in their hand, then they're going to be very careful about that too. But that's pretty much it for this deck profile, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you guys have any questions at all. I'll be definitely making more deck profiles in BT4 soon. I'm currently testing the blue Hybrid Spirit deck and the red Hybrid Spirit deck, just because those deck I really kind of stumped right now. They are really strong if you can get your combo off, but they are really easy to brick. So I'm trying to find a right balance for those decks to just not be as easy to brick, just to find that perfect balance of ratios. But yeah, Aldemon is crazy. If you can get him out in turn 2 or 3 and just attack for security, then if your opponent can't catch up, then it's pretty much GG. But up against purple and green decks, the red deck, it kind of falls short if their plan doesn't go through. So that's pretty much it for this deck profile, guys. This is Kartaku, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!